Raywat, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Of the G7 countries, Canada is second last in vaccine distribution. Japan is last on doses administered per 100 people. Britain is first, 54 out of 100. United States second, 48 per 100. Then Italy, France, Germany. Then Canada at just under 17 per 100. Manitoba is just under 15 per 100. By the way, Japan is below 1 in 100. Overall, Canada 34th worldwide, and that reflects that we are importers of the vaccine. Now, Raywat, given the variants, given the case counts, what is your view of where we are in the spread of variants and COVID cases versus shots in the arm? And what do you reckon will happen in the weeks ahead as far as case counts are concerned?
That's a pretty heavy question. I'm fond of repeating Dr. Michael Warner's tweet from a few days ago. It's a great tweet. He said, "The third wave has been characterized as a race between vaccination and variants, and the variants have won. And now it's a race between vaccination and ICU bed capacity, because we don't have enough vaccines to have won that race." So we may lose the race against ICU capacity as well, unless some extraordinary steps are taken by provinces to slow transmission. So I hope that places like Ontario look at stay-at-home orders, look at closing schools, pulling out the plugs, as it were, giving paid sick leave, diverting vaccination to essential workers, whatever it takes to slow down the spread so that we can acquire new vaccines and get more jabs into arms. That's what needs to happen.
Jules?
And I'm wondering at this point, Raywat, if something like what Manitoba has done, and for many weeks, I can't tell you how many because they all run together, people from outside the province, or if you leave the province and return, you must quarantine for 14 days. That's been in place for some time, and we're sitting at about, I think, 270-ish cases of the variants. Is that what's keeping us insulated? Because clearly it's to the east of us and to the west of us.
It's hard to say. I mean, so much of this is stochastic, meaning there's some randomness as well. But yeah, avoiding seeding events is important. So to my knowledge, you haven't got that much weight of variants creating a problem in Manitoba, and that's due to travel not having been an issue. Look, we have done a really poor job of controlling domestic travel in this country, and from province to province it varies. Someone had tweeted earlier that if you fly in from New Zealand, which has almost no cases, you still have to quarantine, but you can drive from Toronto, which is a hot zone, to a small town and enjoy indoor dining with no restrictions. So something is amiss in how we're controlling the movement of people here, and that's a big one.
And as we move forward, we aren't creating the vaccine, so we're a little bit at hostage of procuring it, and clearly that has been an issue. Are lessons being learned on the importance of domestic production?
Oh, yes. So going forward, when it comes to preventing the next pandemic or preparing for the next pandemic, keeping vaccine platforms alive for manufacturing is important, for distribution is important too. So I'm buoyed by the prospect of a variety of provinces investing in new vaccine manufacturing facilities, whether it's for mRNA vaccines or other. So in Canada, we have the Medicago vaccine, which is going through phase 2 trials now, which is a plant-based COVID vaccine. And if that has wings, then we may be a center for that kind of production. And it looks like we may be producing mRNA vaccines soon as well. Not just for COVID, but other diseases. Keep in mind, when this crisis is over, we'll probably all need boosters for a couple of years, if not more. And so having domestic capacity matters.
There's the reports out of San Francisco about this double mutant variant. And I know from our conversations that there's going to be variants throughout and mutations. But what we're seeing right now, is this far more lethal, far more contagious?
It might be more contagious. So this one was first seen in India, in Maharashtra. And there, the last couple of weeks, 50% of their new cases have been of this new variant. So there's a suspicion it is more transmissible. However, no actual studies have been done to measure its transmissibility. It's unknown whether it might be more lethal, but transmissibility is sufficient if it's hypertransmissible. Next question, of course, is do the vaccines work against it? There's every expectation that the current vaccines will work at least to some extent on this new variant. But
should we be restricting people even more in their movements, especially in the hot zones, as a result?
I think so. Yes, we're deep into crisis mode here. So let's hold things as steady as we can and prevent any additional possibility of seeding events until we get things under control.
What do we need to do? Should we be looking at no interprovincial travel? Because I'm looking today, I believe Newfoundland had no cases, so they're going third wave. What third wave? And I can appreciate that Newfoundland is more isolated than Ontario, that can be bombarded with people from not just their own province, but of course from Quebec and from Manitoba. I appreciate that. But at some point, do leadership need to say, listen, we need to do more?
I don't think zero travel is the way to go, but certainly discouraging unnecessary travel with a variety of levers is important. And certainly when the travel does occur, make sure that quarantine takes place, make sure a quarantine hotel is in place, and make sure rapid testing is also on site. All of those things in place. Have vaccine certification and on top of additional testing. If those layers of protection are in place, then the probability of domestic travel being a problem diminishes profoundly, but something has to be done to control that possibility of seeding events.
Thanks as always. We appreciate your time. We'll allow you to craft your own profound tweets. Raywat Deonandan is a University of Ottawa epidemiologist and frequently joins us here on the news. In 12 minutes,